where you can bounce the stun. But in terms of the Phoenix, I don't massively hate it. I think those orbs can be pretty huge to pick up, at least towards the B side. Of course, they've opened up things a little bit more since we saw this map played previous. It is a question again of which version do we get of both of these teams heading into the final map of what could be their time in the uppers done.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking about G2's post plants in general here, Hazza. That Sage is going to be huge for the barrier orbs, the walls to sustain the plant spot, and not only that, the post plants.
Very early utility used by Sarah. The stopping power on the B site is solely sitting through this Viper, as there is a flank hot and ready to go.
Flank Hazza, that's the main take. 4 players are on there. And again, you're talking about the barrier orbs that we mentioned. It's a deep plant spot for G2.
Less about the flank, more the response. G2 now taking the snowman space, and you can even see Vanya going walkabout. Not until the first kill comes in, there is a response.
Yeah, there we have it. The trade in G2 and straight away pivot towards that back site. It's almost like a switch in roles here.
You can see the flash lineup coming through. The blind side blocked by the toxic screen. GX not quite able to bust through just yet, but the kill's starting to go their way, 4v2.
Yeah, it's the mollies that have been really working for G2 here. Onto the spike. It's up to Smurfette to try and hold things down. Giant X, Hazza, are taking this pistol once again.
Oh man, 4 from 5 in the pistol department, and Smurfette the one to see it through. Amy against low HP opponents very nearly managed to convert the 3 versus 1, but not going for her this time. And it's those kinds of situations you can't exactly rely on. While they read the map well, Giant X made the most of the flank that they developed.
Yeah, and I think as well, having the Gecko from Ness is going to be so great for these retakes. You think of like the Dizzy Flash combined with the Smurfette blindside. Not only that, the wee man, the wingman, being able to get onto towards spikes and defuse.
You could see the idea as well there. It was actually G2's own wall which blocked the flash. They were just trying to clear the close space in front of them rather than be open to all of the angles at once. This time, running blind straight into Miori, but quick on the uptake. The trade is there. Only a ghost given over to Petra.
So you've got to be looking towards Sarah on site by themselves, holding down B, and does so well. Again, I mean, realistically, you've only really lost a ghost there, so it's not really a massive loss for Giant X in the end of the round.
Bulldogs purchased by a couple of players, and as they yap away, it is a one-sided discussion. This should be a pretty healthy bonus that we get from GX coming into round number 3. And G2 converting their own bonus was a big stronghold in the game state as to how they were really able to run this one out of control. When you look on the opposite side and where Giant X were able to find their success in that first map, it was the 8-4 half which they then began to build on from the defenders' side. So both of these teams immediately put in positions of power, but Giant X dealing those first couple of blows and could certainly hit the weak spot and make it worse.
I think as well, like the cool thing is already in the first 2 rounds, we've seen a lot of how these compositions are wanting to be worked, like especially with like the Sage and how G2 are using the flashes to actually initiate and then the Sage to sustain the post plants and exactly what they want to do on the site.
And it's not drastically different from how you'd usually play the map. I think when you bring it down to its roots again, and as I'm saying once more, when you look at brass tacks, it's always going to be about how you play off your teammates, what kind of synergy you have with one another. Utility is a part of the question, sure, and duelists do offer something a little bit different there, but still, foundations that can stand the test of time, and G2 now needing to roll back to Ascent and start putting rounds on the board.
Sarah again left all alone on B site and has caught wind of something and does not want to be anywhere near it, dipping all the way out.
And again, Sarah using that utility so prematurely. They really don't have the space closing G2 to be putting you in peril that quickly, but there are players still here to make issues of their own. Smurfette with that first.
Yeah, only on a Marshall, did not have a chance, although Miori all the way up in kitchen, just not getting a chance to get anything more than the initial pick. Spike picked up, and still G2 haven't gotten it down.
G2 do cast a wide control over the B side of the map. It's that deep wall that we're talking about. GX finally take the fights through the midst of things, but it goes both ways for now, and that's a 2 versus 2. Vanya quickly taken out of her ult, could be in hot water, and that's exactly the case. Jolina 3 frags, 2 kills collected on the scoreboard, and more importantly, a 3rd round dotted in for GX.
Not just any 3rd round though, Heiser. It's the rifle round of G2. Bonus being converted is absolutely massive for the defenders' side here. And you know how hard Icebox can see. We talked about side biases in the last round and how that's going to skew. How does that skew an Icebox?
As I said before, it felt like Jolina was given all of the tools, the Swede in her sandbox, yet she puts it together by herself. Now, up against the pick and mix of guns, GX the ones with the rifles in their hand, and they are feeling hungry to try and collect some early kills this time. Yeah,
the proactivity across the map in general has been really good from GX for a few rounds.
It has left the A side weakened though, and that's where G2 make their entry. Smurfette just on time to find the first kill, but there's more to be found in this 4-on-4.
Now finally the spike getting down, which will give a little bit of an economy booster, but it's more about GX getting back on site, and it's not been working out at all. The lesser weaponries have been better.
Another 4-on-2 situation, this time favouring G2, and it's Amy, the point woman of this situation. Jolina, another clutch, and nearly lines them up, but even then, you needed the stars align for that to go any different, and it didn't.
Yeah, Hazard, but that's the thing. Like, you do so well to win out the bonus round, and you're like, wow, that's them. They're going to be in such a great spot to just keep cycling through G2's rounds, and then you go and lose in the round like after. Big for G2 to come back into this one.
A real gut punch, and it's rounds like that as well which will take you out of the flow state, where it felt like GX had the read on everything when they were choosing to play aggressive for the first round, really, that we've seen in a set of 4 of them so far. G2 knew exactly what they were doing to respond, and it's early utility here which will make life difficult for Ness, but she doesn't find that too much of an issue.
Life difficult, but manoeuvred perfectly. Still G2 hanging around to try and get something back, and well, it seems if it could be. Has the res online as well for G2, but it's not a round you really want to invest it in.
Well, we are here on Icebox, the map that the Sphere has taken a likeness of and modelled after. We are still very prone to players overheating, and it feels like as soon as they get a couple of those kills, it's time to find a couple more. We've still not found an ace so far in the 3 maps that we've shown, but we've been damn close.
Yeah, we certainly have. And on top of that, I mean, you've just seen a lot of these players really, I guess, grow into the roles of the duelist and how they're being playing. I mean, Vania has been absolutely insane, and not only that, Hazza, I think as well, like, Sarah has had a real good couple of maps against the next team.
Early B long play, Miori, Smurfette combining, GX in the early round. It's ultimately decided their fate in the previous couple, whether they've given up space or taken it for themselves. They live and die by it, and Jolina hits the sword. Mimi able to bring Vania back up on their feet, and it's an advantage lost after very quickly being gained.
Giant X so far have been playing this in a retake so often, and look at the mid. They know exactly, they know that G2 haven't crossed just yet. Well, there's 4 of them. Sarah might be just pushing this a bit too far.
It's a question. It's a 1v1 on the back lines. The footsteps heard, getting dimmer and dimmer, quieter and quieter. Smurfette caught out in the open. Vania with a takedown, 3-on-2. Time left to be played, but the B execute being committed to. Vania already clearing out the backside. It has pushed Ness further forward into the waiting arms of Rescue. And while Sarah's flank had finally given us something to talk about, out of the ultimate, the support network was there.
There was actually a lot of good decisions being made by G2 there. They actually, after they committed the res, they threw the spike to the Phoenix to try and build up that ultimate, try and get the run it back online. That was the objective from the get-go, but it was actually the kill that got it back online.
And it's not about, you know, taking too many fights as well. As I mentioned before, a little bit of overheating perhaps there from GX, taking their ones against a gun like the Guardian in the hands of Amy. Quick squeeze of the trigger and you're gone just like that. Lights out in this round, and as fast as an RB19 out of the starting grid, it's G2 taking fights on A and winning them. Miori responding, replying, but not yet out of nest.
Still, Miori overstays the welcome. Fair enough, it's going to be traded out either way, and GX actually the ones taking the advantage. Jolina continuously committing that, and now Amy's left scratching her head. Where's the rest of my team gone?
It has to be one or the other, and this time GX fully flood. It was a supported Miori and Nest with no way to disengage that helped them clean things up. Now Amy, a clutch for her again, yet the result remains the same. GX, 5 rounds now for them on the defensive half.
Yeah, Amy's such an interesting character as well, has been playing in the scene for so long. And I'll actually give you a little bit of a stat here, something that's a bit of a weird one. Do you know outside of the GC circuit, Amy has not actually lost a tournament?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Other than official events, it's insane. And you even look at the dynamic of this team as well, being one of the youngsters coming in under Petra. I think she'll definitely see some of herself in a player like Amy, you know, a young Dutch promising talent from the same region that is requiring perhaps a little bit of mentorship to get to the level we expect of her. Smurfette, that's a rookie error. Vanya 2 kills capitalizing, and sure, while Miori's been ever present in the kill feed, it's not enough to stop the lead.
Yeah, again, it's flashbacks towards that thrifty round on the 4th one. Giant X need to be wary of how they maneuver themselves through. Miori
dives out of the window. Felt like she was in a shop window, right? A free kill to be cashed out. No chance there. Petra on the Sheriff. They know about one of the G2 players, but the rest have slipped around the back, slipped the net, planted the spike with it.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking that the rifles haven't been picked up yet by G2, so somewhat Giant X have a good chance here. The only issue being, Hazza, you've got to be thinking the utility that's still sitting there, and of course, what's just been invested, a Viper's Pit.
A big call made by Amy. Regressive positioning, but the pit will add spice to the situation. A flash coming through. Sarah caught in no man's land as Vanya has tripled up. 3v1 now for Jolina. Again, the clutch queen, but with the multi-kills that she's made, you make a little too much of a situation like this and caught blindsided by it. In fact, Vanya, 4 kills for her, a quad that picks G2 back up off their feet.
Hazza, it's just that we see players overstaying their welcome, wanting to overfight in mid. Fair enough, we see a couple of the players, like the Reyna getting caught in transition towards the site. But at the end of the day, I mean, you should be wary of someone up on top of Tube.
Yeah, if you updraft and dash through middle, it is literally cookie cutter Valorant at its very core. It's what we see the Jet player do so often. I've known of Jet players on this map traditionally which have pivoted to other Asians because they don't want to be, you know, doing the dirty work in mid every time. But Petra gets the reward of it and may just have a second successive kill on Miori here if Vanya hasn't already filled her boots.
Yeah, you're just seeing the run it back again to scale more out and get more space for G2. Though Waldo is going to stop that shot, and you see G2 maybe playing a bit further back once again.
They know where the player numbers lie. There is an anomaly in Sarah through middle, but Petra should start to be aware of that. Now it's the death cam instead, which will divulge that information to the rest of the team. 4 versus 2 G2, not for the first time, and maybe not the last. They should be converting this. And they will. Rescue sprays it down. There's not even a chance for us to really even chalk it up to be any different. G2 in their post plants, which you heavily critiqued on the desk, has been the one thing that they've rectified so far.
I mean, that's it, has a... So they're just continuously, I guess, developing, evolving, and throughout this series, throughout this map as well. I mean, you look towards how the round count has been going. It's now slowly starting to get more and more G2 favoured. And this comp as well, they're suiting that so much. You see the way they're building Vanya's ult every single time. Dimensional Drift available for a rescue here.
It's going to be another early scrap. G2 not exactly taking like a duck to water, but they've got webbed feet on this attack side now. And walking their way towards it. 4 players on the B side, 4 now towards A for G2. A quick pump fake and they're away to an A plant.
Yeah, you see Sarah's awareness. No, there's been no contact on B long, so Sarah dips out the site. GX again have been playing retake after retake, Hazza, and even a dimensional drift just to make sure there's no one nearby.
It's not just the post plants as well, Cairo, which G2 have improved, but it's also the fact that they've been able to set up in them. Off the back of the dimensional drift, they're ready for it. Thrash coming in, quick detain.
Yeah, I thought it was only, I thought it had got 2, but no, it's just the one. Sarah will double up though. Amy so far back and Spike not in sight. Time to work with. I mean, is there going to be enough health to it by the end of it? No. Fair enough, you get 2, but what more can you say about that?
GX very quick to converge on those player positions off the back of the Thrash into the retake. And as I said, it felt like G2 had more than enough time to set that one up. The spike hadn't been set in motion either. And they end up with plenty of casualties on the GX side. It's as clean as you could probably ask in a situation such as that. 6-4, very close cut in this first half. You have to wonder whether GX will have done enough on the defense.
I mean, that's what we're going to find out as we move to the next half, and whether G2's comp, I mean, especially with the Sage, you would think that they'll have more to stop and delay. As for mid, though, Amy's got no chance of delaying and has to take that fight. At least got one and is now out. No smokes for G2 in this round.
Phoenix kill.
It was a brilliant combination of flashes in mid. Now Miori left to her laurels, her own devices. 2 kills collected. And while Petra can walk Snowman, it's a concession they're happy to make. Spike's still not planted and players close by.
If Mimi gets a spike down the Hazard, that's the res available. Look at Petra on the swing, can't get the fight, but Mimi will. Can't bring another player back online if they can. And there it is, Petra back in. Oh, sorry, it's Res Q, but Mimi does it all themselves anyway.
She was fully blind, but not dead. And as long as Mimi survives in the server, then there's still half a chance. G2, pen to paper, yet another round, when really it shouldn't have been.
It should not have been. Miori does so well, and again, you talk about overstaying, overfighting. Fair enough, they maybe could have dismissed, but it's the res that comes back online that forces the fight out from this. There you have it.
Some nice combination utility as well.
Yeah.
It's not for the first time we've seen the Dizzy go up and the blind side as well. You either have to look away or break, so you're going to get flashed. Only good for a single kill here now in the fight early doors.
Oh man, it's a brawl. A bloodbath. Not as much blood as you would think in the water. Well, maybe there is now as G2 look to have won the round. A 1 versus 4 for Sarah against their former team. Oh, what a tough ask.
You're dead!
Former club servant to the Gozen. But now she has to try and do something to dispel these samurai, which have swiftly taken the A site for themselves. Even look at the angle that Petra's on. You take a single step back and you're in her crosshair. I hate to be that guy, but I feel as if we could see it in just a second. The snakebite does keep Sarah in place. It should be a rough idea as to where she is right now. And yeah, G2 able to confirm that in the end. 6-6. It is all even coming out of the half, but that ice must be broken in the second.
Well, Hazza now moving on towards that second half. Is it advantage being given to G2 or GX? How does the half swap look like? I mean, in general, when we look towards this, you'd always favour the attacking side. And GX, I mean, they almost played the defence like that. Always playing at the retake. The initial start, it looked great. But G2 have that Sage. They have that delay. You have the slow orbs, the barrier orbs. Everything looks to be decent for G2 and GX on both sides. You're thinking of that Gecko as well, Hazza?
On the surface, right? It doesn't look like there's a single thing out of place, but we probably could have said the same going into Ascent. And everyone who was here about half an hour ago knows how that one ended. 13-2 in favour of G2. Not quite the 2-0 for them. And Petra spotted. Little 360. Bit of flair as she zips out of trouble.
Yeah, Mercurial. Petra, though, maybe not Mercurial in the gunfights. Didn't get the best opportunity. Will do this time. Off screen, there goes Smurfette. Exit screen left. And Jolena will be also being forced to that situation. G2 just so much better when it comes to the gunfight. But the spec being down will give GX no chance. And G2, the second pistol round of the series.
Not only do G2 continue to fight, but it's the damage that they deal in the process as well.
Yeah.
It gets to a 3 versus 2 where you think, maybe they've overplayed the hand just a little bit. But then you look to the health bars and it was already done. Lopsided in that sense. So guns on the board for them here. Another defender's side that can make a mark. A seems to be the play, and I'm wondering whether this is just going to be a conveyor belt of numbers out on A round after round, if it really does get that cliche.
Oh, the Outlaw introduced and Petra strikes twice, almost like lightning, but not in the same place. Still being able to dodge, dip, duck and dodge. Oh, there you go, your 5Ds. Petra teaches you how to do it.
Brilliant stuff from Petra. What a way to get started in a round like this. Little cost for collateral, sure. Rescue goes down. It's a gun to the wind, but nothing more. Well dealt with by the Dutch woman, and there you go. Second on the bounce. How does the bonus look? Because we have to remind ourselves, GX picked theirs up and then lost the one that came after it. Every is important as the next.
It's the fact that like Petra just has the game sense to hold on to the angle and then press the trigger when needed to. Even from hip fire, the Outlaw is not as accurate as the Marshall or the AWP has. You've got to remember that from hip.
Yeah, a couple players with light shields here as well. The fact that the spike couldn't get planted. So working with bare minimum. Mimi out in middle. Looks to be an early wall, and as the Outlaw's gone off, it is a Yoru who could get out of play. Still wants to stand her ground and look for this kill, which she takes. Miori scalped.
Oh, there's still a player actually taking a boatload of damage, has it? It's actually been body shot. Jolina getting taken out, forfeiting their life. Maybe forfeiting the round. You look how far back Giant X is.
Yeah, Petra was given so much space without Outlaw to just ring off shots. Finally, the wall came down and she was overexposed. Now a 3v3, but the ult is in play. Denied by a snake. Bite at the feet. Vanya one of her own. And a 3 versus 1. Everything skews back the opposite way. As soon as Smurfette tries it, the towel will be thrown in. Vanya, her hat in the ring. 3 kills as she brawls them to pieces.
Unreal from G2. You just see the building blocks from the early round stacking up and stacking up. Stuff like the snake bite on towards the common hold on yellow. Not only that, Petra's Outlaw being able to do chip damage and also get a kill before dipping out. So well fought in general from G2, multifaceted, and I mean, a complex round that's been won outright.
The core of this G2 team, between them, have third place from 2023 in GC Champs. If they're able to make it through this matchup at the very least, then that's third place in the competition already secured. You've got to be thinking about going into the uppers, the lowers, giving yourself the best possible run, because for many heading into this, they would have instantly written it G2 Shopify, but the rules of which this battleground we find ourselves in being so different, you want to give GX more of a chance, and they're doing it, but it's a couple of those key moments where not shutting down a player like Petra, allowing her to have that freedom of movement, that you're going to find it to come back and bite you.
It's not like that. I mean, they're allowing G2 in general to have like a good opportunity in this round. You're thinking towards, like, again, not to bring the conversation back to Ultimates, but you're thinking about Vania being so close and already having the run it back used. I mean, the op now finally being introduced by Petra. I mean, Vania's nearly 20 kills, mate. We're not even in double digits yet. Yeah,
the controller player before. We know that Clove is enabled, but we haven't seen them yet. I mean, the first thing that Mimi said after that Creator Show match in Madrid was, I love this new agent so much, and the first thing I want to do is put my controller on it. And as aggressive as they've been on the Phoenix, it's like the next level, man. More potential unlocked.
You talk about aggression, look at the map, has it already. G2 are starting to make that smaller and smaller. Giant X have no way out. If they go back, it's Petra's up. If they go to mid, well, you know who's lying in wait.
Petra already on the angle. Sarah thinking about it, tossing up the chance in her mind, but it's the last thought that crosses it before she's taken out. Players moving on to the site here, making inroads, but Rex burning bridges. Jolina 2 back. It's a bit topsy-turvy in the kill feed. Petra the only one left remaining. Blades available if she so chooses.
Fancies their chances. Spike still not down for GX though. And while Petra has seen the Reyna towards Kitchen,
Spike planted,
is worried about the positioning perhaps of Jolina and where that spikes actually went down.
Got to be looking for the right moment to strike. When does the penny drop that she's going to push for this? The Blades would have done it, and Not quite able to slice that one. A difficult situation to dissect for G2. They are back within a couple of rounds.
You've got to be thinking of what was pushed to the middle of the field there when it comes to the table. Has a G2 sent not only an AWP, but the Blade Storm. I mean, that's the expensive stuff. And you're seeing that, the results of that actually falling in. And the purchases that's been brought forward, Petra picking up the Spectre, I mean a Sheriff for Amy, pistols on the board.
And G2 as well on the defense, while they do have all of the tools that we spoke of, it's that perilous economy state which will constantly come back to bite them. A rogue rifle for ResQ. Standing on hallowed ground behind Yellow right now, just waiting.
Yeah.
A well-supported player with an opportunity to disengage.
GX staring in through the window, but can they climb in? That's the question we ask, and it looks to be the answer coming through. Smurfette opens it up. G2 though, are actually starting to fight back. Denied the spike in 2 kills. Advantage still in their favour.
Nothing more than a classic in her hands, but it will suffice. The spike dropped out in the open. The wingman nowhere to be seen. Neither is its creator.
Spike retrieved. Looking at players that actually want to fight through that smoke. Fight G2 on the front lines, and it looks to be them winning it. Smurfette absolutely huge. Petra though stopping it momentarily. It's still going Smurfette's way, and ace on board. A chance for GX to close the gap, and that's exactly the case. Even though G2 posed to be a threat.
GX, they're building bridges, but the bricks feel brittle. At any moment, they could collapse. Brought down so close. Vanya's classic hitting different. Plenty of propaganda to those bundle purchases, I'm certain. But the big thing for me there as well is just forcing the issue sight on Petra as well, putting her in hot water, forced to take a fight on 2 fronts, making sure they maximize the space they get once the disadvantage was plotted against them. Now a chance for both teams to come in with rifles.
Vania already dissuaded from going any further, the Dizzy doing the work, but will go higher up. And those drops will be held by the players that are just out of full 10.
I mean, you still have your Viper towards the opposite extremity, so you can stall out a B play, all eggs in the A basket. And all-inclusive in terms of utility, it stopped both in their tracks.
Yeah, it's crazy already. You see the stall coming out from G2 on the A side, and they've even got Miori to boot with that Hollands.
They're weakened up by the snakebite, I imagine, and the wingman also going down means the spike is out in no man's land. The stalemate quickly blows over into a 2 versus 2 situation. Nade should be Amy dead to rights, and she is. Another Mimi clutch situation. Everybody in the server low, but she'll be the lowest. Jolina, a quad kill from the captain.
A fantastic Jolina has been frequent in this kill feed. The Rays looking excellent, it has to be said.
And a controller player on every map in the pool that we've seen from her previous. So definitely not a situation that you may have expected, but the captain takes it on her own terms. And just like that, we seem to be in another moment's downtime. One where G2 now begin to find themselves on the back foot after what looked like a brilliant streak from, you know, carried all the way from the second half of Bind through Ascent into this one, cover to cover, yet still they are missing those final few pieces and fluffing their lines at the key moments.
Yeah, it feels as if G2 goes and we're really starting to flex our muscles coming into Icebox. I liked everything that they were doing in terms of the comp. They didn't need an initiator, they had 2 flashing agents. And that's where the Sage on the defense, you start to see them really look good. But GX though has it. As this map specifically is growing on, they have been fighting back. And I think as well that's maybe G2 allowing them in, you know, opening the door, giving them the opportunity after losing out that thrifty round.
I suppose so, but you know, to no fault of their own.
Yes,
if that makes any sense. G2 still competent in this clash, but you know, they need a moment of magic really to instill any extra faith that we may have in them here. A low purchase. The purse straps are tight.
Look at the aggression already though, and it's Mimi who struck first. Starting to fire volleys off at one another, and G2 still continue at the advantage. The spike down, GX can't retreat at all. They have to fight, they have to win, and they're not going to get a chance to as Miori has to try and get forward. Spike's still down.
There's Reyna, the raid boss. No guns that you can collect in those long-range duels. The reason being, the Thrash just so strong. And I believe, yeah, thrifty round. It has been shut down and confirmed. Double digits for G2.
Yeah, that was a well-needed round. G2 needed to stop the flow of blood, needed to get a bandage on it, and they do. That's the thing. They actually are able to stop that, and they've even got Petra back on the AWP, a key piece of their defense so far.
We're back into rifle versus rifle, and as you say, just when things were looking good, Petra brings in the AWP, invested the Bladestorm to that clutch, couldn't win it. That was the last time we got an opportunity of looking at this one. It'll be towards the other side of the map where the first fight is taken.
Belong is the place of the engagement, but no fight. The delay again from G2, the stall that they have just through the Sage alone.
Phoenix Hot Hands also coming through from Vanya. The bite back will be there for them. Blaze Wall goes up and it is layered with the barrier. Flash ready to take a fight, and just as soon as GX thinks that they're disengaging, G2 want a little bit more of this.
Yeah, this is a position that Vanya has taken up a few times, looking to play around 90-degree corners. GX, though, are still sticking around.
They want to try and take this fight together if they can. Mimi and Vanya both on an island. Support close by from ResQ. The clone comes out, attracted to the boom bot. Perfect timing of utility to just sell a ruse so that they can take these kills from right underneath their nose. G2, they clamp down on the site defense. And between the players that they had, they muster up a big moment.
Hazza, when it comes down to it, what did we say? From Ascent, G2, when you put the fundamentals under a magnifying glass, they look good. When you go towards Icebox, they just put it into a simple play of just forcing up the Sage wall and using the curveballs to play off one another.
It's an area of isolation, but one where they had perfected how they wanted to address it. And now into this one. The fact of the matter is, GX nowhere near as healthy in terms of how they can contend here. Just the one rifle this time.
Yeah, I was about to note the hero rifle that is being brought out. Miori is the one on it. It has to go up against the knot. Don't know if they want to.
Petra's finally brought the dash in play, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Miori, jump peek after jump peek, just reconfirming her presence here. Petra on the prowl, moving closer. A more open angle, but as soon as it peters out, she wants nothing more.
So much information, but it's only the Reyna that's been seen. G2 will have an idea, and still it continues to just be Miori. And it's actually pinned 3 players to the A side of the map.
I mean, I don't know what kind of radar they have. The mental timer is just magnetic, but both players off the angle. Amy spotting out the fake. But the real deal is in close proximity. The players on the B site, they conceded at G2. They have ults to retake, a run it back, a dimensional drift, but a pit in the face.
Yes, it's taking out Amy, and look at this. It's actually the Marshall that's beating out the AWP. G2, they're stuck in CD with not even a key to open the door to their site. Not even a key to get to Snowman. It's going to have to be the running back that gets the work done, and it is. There's even going to be a res.
But how much time is there left on the clock? The site yet to be defumigated, and Miori right in the middle of things. Wall goes up, defuse coming in. Petra still on it, but the snake bite should stop things dead in their tracks. The decay down to 1. Amy next up, but next to fall to her grave. The forever box is where she finishes.
Yeah, Sarah that locks G2 out of their sight has a... Still, the Viper have an impact through utility as well, not just the pit. It's the snake bites that won the round, not anything else. Sure, Miori gets the kills. Unreal stall though in towards Snowman.
A means to an end, and like you say, GX took the fight to them when they had the tools to sit back, put the deck chair up, and while it may be freezing on Icebox, they held their cool there. Now G2 again trying to be proactive towards B long, and finally they get the fight they want.
Still, the fights continue. Petra can't get out. Surely trying to use the smokes, and well, there's the dash, but they're shot in the back. Falling flat on their face. Giant X look to hit 11.
It leaves a sour taste in the mouth after what looked to be an appetizing opener. Twice the numbers. Mimi has got to hold on from yellow again, but with only a Sheriff at her side, there is no chance. Around here should be getting picked up, and with that, it means that we once again find ourselves at the extent of regular play.
Yeah, has a regulation. The full extent of it is guaranteed. 24 rounds to decide between these two. This is what happened in map number 1. It has to be remembered. Unbind. Icebox continues to be the same.
Hey, look, you close the book, but the story goes on. That is exactly how this series has looked. You bookend Ascent, a memory to forget, not something to be written down in GX's history in this tournament. Both of their times could have expired in the upper bracket, not for Petra's positioning. Unable to be spotted by the Dizzy. It's just perfect from Petra. She's potent in attack. And just like that, they have the numbers, G2.
That is insane. Dodging the showstopper, and G2 just completely obliterate Giant X. Thanks to Petra.
A masterstroke in positioning, and now Miori's turn to try and flip things on its head. Give G2 the shakedown, offset the balance as they are currently poised for a series point. That Empress is going to run out before she can find a jewel, so left down to the bare minimum here.
G2 just stand in place. Not one to move, not one to give a chance. You respect it. It's Arena that you're going up against. I mean, Jules is what they want. Jules is what makes them stronger. And Miori has to ace here.
And look, with the re-clear on A, now G2 no, that spike has not been picked up. In fact, it has. The precious cargo already carried to the other side of the map. Miori already, though, repositioning more towards mid. Open spot that she can look to try and challenge here, and may just hear the footsteps of G2 making their way back through.
Actually escaped towards the upper part of the map here as well, has her.
She's going to catch them coming up the rope. This is brilliantly played by Miori.
Yeah, she can hold on here. Not one to move, not one to give it away. A dismiss out for extra info, and now you look at this. Mimi on towards the spike and gets it half. Oh no, it's not even close. No. She has to swing out and does so. It's an ace for Giant X, even after Petra does so well. Giant X are the first ones to get a chance to win this map.
A masterstroke from Petra, but the rug swiftly removed from beneath their feet. They saved the best till last. Miori with an ace on the duelist, the Sentinel player. Reina able to do it all off their own back, and even here when it looked like there was a golden window for Mimi to steal it away, she gets shut out just in time.
Miori putting Mimi in towards a decision. Does she stick the spike or does she come off at half? Being so far on, no wonder Mimi chances it.
And the decision they make on this round is to go for the A play yet again. Thrash on the opposite side. Very early, yellow is contained, and the utility can be recycled. There is no cause for concern.
Oh, the site will be given for free. G2 respecting what GX have had. Net rescue, giving away so much information, trying to flash out.
She doesn't have her TP to get out though, so the dimensional drift will just be a hard cancel and a fight found.
Spike is down. G2 continue their onslaught, continue their fighting. It's the two players of GX that have to try and hold on to this. In fact, it's just Ness all alone against two.
Things can take a moment of calm because the spike is not yet planted. Ness needs a moment to just restore and collect herself here. A 2 versus 1 and the wall would finish her off. Kept at bay for a moment longer. All duelists in the clutch situation. A double up on the angle from G2. They're ready to take this fight.
Yeah, but they could go in one go. Ness knows exactly what she's up against.
Not going to line up for her this time, though. And Vanya will close. Overtime on the cards. We've had max rounds on map 1, and now in the decider, overtime is the only exception that we have to rule who it is that will be moving forward in this series.
Yeah, that has both teams deserve overtime here. They deserve to have a chance at giving a go at one more bout. 31 kills from Vania. That is absolutely insane. Almost a 2 KD on this map alone. And Miori is also up there in 30s as well. That's insane, man.
Yeah, I mean, GX, we have to give them their flowers for keeping this one competitive after a map 2 like what we saw, 13-2. When you suffer a deficit of that many rounds, it would be easy to take the knock and struggle to carry on. But a full reset, which we've seen here, which is a credit again to them and the coaching team. The first play made in this extension of play.
The Viper, the only stalwart of the A side, and as for Giant X, they're just going to have to rotate and play the retake, as we've seen them do so many times.
They did struggle before with dealing with G2's post plants, but when they had the players there for the retake and the abilities, I should say, of which they've not used yet, was good. Only issue for me, Jolina's very far away from this.
Yeah, Smurfette though gets the entry. Petra gone off the board, and the Dizzy, the flashes, it's actually getting them in towards the site and even getting them 2 players to the good. Miori still sticking around, but it's Rescue that takes out the opposite number. 3v3 and G2 just fight all the way back in. G2 in a 1 versus 1 and just trade their way down to the end. Advantage towards them and a chance to win out this full series.
Pinstriped kill feed in the end, and it almost feels unfair to GX. They have 1 round left from which to fight to keep themselves in the upper bracket of this competition. Timeout coming through, replenished for both squads. They have a couple moments longer to make of it what they can. I mean, if you're in Giant X's position right now, how do you approach your attacking round?
I mean, that's it. I guess the thing is, though, Hazza, the key thing is not to doubt yourself. Realistically, Giant X had a good attacking half, and I mean, how many thrifties did we see? How many rifle rounds they were getting the read on G2?
I think it also sort of spins back to what does the defense look like? Yeah. How airtight is it? Are they giving you scraps that you can latch onto, or is it a complete impossibility?
I mean, the other aspect, we're talking about this being Giant X's timeout and posing it and kind of spinning it towards them, but this is a chance for G2 to review exactly how their half went, and it's the more recent of the 2.
Yeah, like the first real break in play that we've had, non-stop, noses to the grindstone. But 60 seconds goes a long way, and hopefully we'll see that reflected in the server. Not to invite the possibility of, you know, an extended overtime long into the night, but for sure, these teams toe-to-toe. But who's going to take it? G2 within 1 now.
That's the typical 3-1-1 default that's towards the B side.
Yeah, and I'm liking the read here from GX as well, because Smurfette's going to be able to disengage with a TP if the A pressure is put on, which it is. They are fast and off towards B.
Yeah, but Hazza, when you look towards this retake for G2, they're going to have so much map space, especially more towards the flank. You've got to be worried, though, about the GX being able to take the CT space.
That's exactly what they're doing. The floodgates are down, and just like that, they do take the space for themselves, but it's the kills which happen to be a little more important in this instant. Rescue blinded up maybe even by her own flash there. Jolina 2 kills. Finally, a bit of established order about this one, but G2 not out of the woods just yet, and there you go. GX, they converted eventually.
Well, Hazza, sometimes the most well-made plans have a hole in the middle of them, and GX are going to punch right through it. Fantastic stuff. I mean, the mid-round call or the mid-plant call just to straight away head towards CT.
From front to back, it was so well read. Just the Yoru player being the one that's testing the limits of A. As soon as they saw that G2 had players there, they flipped to the other side of the map and took the extra space that they could. Sure, G2 the first players to find kills on the way back in, but as soon as they knew what their game plan was, it was well structured enough to be sought through.
Well, there's one player with a chance to hit a 40 bomb. It is Miori's Reina. Feels if I'm back in my ranked games, man, but watching a Reina go 40 and 40 kills.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't usually pick Reina when I queue with you, so I don't know what that would be from, but
there we go.
Amy with a chance to get a bucket load of frags here as well. The first fight taken is an isolated one, but Smurfette will win out.
Yeah, Mimi now responding to that backing off, but the players of GX, they're going through mid.
Both teams are doing pretty much the same thing that they did in the previous round. The only exception is this time, the move is made through middle. That is where GX are going to be looking to retake this from.
Oh, look at the trigger discipline from Petra. So clinical in the key moments, but it's next to get out the differentiation between the two, and Rescue's already out.
GX have the numbers, but G2 deep positions. A decoy used, but not bought into whatsoever. It is, in fact, a couple players blinded. Needs to take the time here, Mimi. Brings the wingman off the defuse. There is life left in this one yet, but kills to be collected, and the crosshair just an inch too far away. GX, they are able to draw first blood in the second overtime.
Well, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Pros don't fake, and they just held on towards the defuse. G2 again let GX in towards this one. Advantage towards them. I mean, this time, G2 are the one timing out.
Hey, look, we've got a timeout for as many overtimes as there are, but as soon as we head into the next, if play can be prolonged any further, then they are left to themselves in the server. So right now, G2, they'll know it. This is the final time that they get to talk to Coach Thibaut before we are back into this one.
Oh, is this where we get the Sliggy pen out? We're like, 2 chances?
2 chances, yeah. No, it's right down to the wire this time. And, I mean, for GX, they've got to be feeling confident. Yeah. They got the complete correct read on the previous round, and then when G2 tried to do the same thing to them, they were aware of it. They had the players in the right place. So I think this is a really good on-the-fly calling, really good setup into the rounds. How exactly do G2 now play the mind games? Do they want to keep the A pressure on their defense?
I mean, there's so many questions. I mean, do you want to change it up, hit mid, hit B? Do you just sit and wait and play the retake? I mean, that's the question. You'd think with that Sage, though, Hazza, that you'd be wanting to hold sights more.
Or play to the retake, right? You look at what the strengths of this are, and Mimi has certainly shown them. 16 assists and 16 kills. It's not been the best outing from her so far, but the impact is there. That's undoubted. Ball goes to mid early, so possibility of a lurk is cut out, but nobody's watching it. It will demand their attention if there is player presence.
4 players for G2 towards the B side of the map. They have gambled with Petra to hold down A by themselves.
It's the Viper wall which calls your eyes immediately towards it, right? For GX, though, it's barely even presence shown because G2 are so far back, they don't even have an idea. This is a full gamble as to whether it's correct or not. Petra is your first line of defense, and as soon as that mid wall goes, you have so many more angles to be thinking about.
Yeah, and Petra doesn't have much longevity here, has it? It's a glass cannon op. I mean, 3 bullets from a Vandal and she's done.
Position can still find value. First shot of the op rings off. GX, now they know, into this retake could be a struggle point. That shot would have alleviated so much pressure. The raid boss, the Reina, Miori, still left standing and could make them pay.
That spikes an open plant spot. This is good for GX in the post plant. That's a big fight from Mimi on the flank.
Petra looking to get up close and personal. Shorty in hand. They have the toxic screen, but no wingman. The defuse has to be stuck, and it needs to start sooner rather than later. Sarah's dealt with the flank. The front line's now focused on GX coming into their own. We thought that in this tournament, the foundations that G2 had would be enough to stand the test, but given a different chance, a second chance, a new lease of life, GX win out in the mirror matchup.
I mean, Hazza, that is a massive win for Giant X. You think of all the storylines coming into it, it pointed towards G2, it pointed towards their